Live from JMT Studios, Gary Seisel and Adam Buckingham are the Two Jersey Kids.
Hey guys, welcome back to episode 6 of Two Jersey Kids. I am one of your hosts, Adam Buckingham, alongside my good friend of 10 years, Gary Seisel. He brings the spice to this podcast.
Yeah. You know what? What's happening, everybody? Doing well on this fine September evening. Actually, it's not really fine. Well, I'm just gonna announce it anyway. But oh yeah, well, it's not really a fine September evening. It's actually kind of terrible outside, rainy wise. But
it's pouring by me. It's disgusting. Yeah. It's like raining cats and dogs. It's like flooded outside my apartment. But continue. What have you been doing this week, Gary?
Well, a lot of work and a lot of school. I haven't been able to play some of the new Destiny DLC. Still not enough yet to really develop a full opinion. I haven't played the raid yet because I've been busy with other things. Been playing some NHL, club NHL, and enjoying myself. How about yourself?
You've been putting other things over Destiny? This is insane. Especially other games like NHL. This is insanity, Gary. I would not expect this coming from you. When every time I go on, previously before this period, once we started this podcast, I would go on PS4, and guess what? Gary's playing Destiny. I'm like, well, I guess I can't play any games with him tonight because he's playing Destiny with these other people.
Well, I do dedicate some of my time to schoolwork.
Well, not before then. Before then, it was just all Destiny all the time. Let's be real.
I'm in the home stretch now. I'm going to graduate soon here.
Yeah, that's true. That's exciting. This week, I have been playing some more NHL 17, my pro. I got to the playoffs, and then you want to know what fucking happened? My guy got knocked out for 95 days again. Like, what the hell? It was like a tiny, like, little check, and my guy's down, like, oh my God. I got hit so hard. He's got, like, the woe is me look on his face with, like, the palm to his head. I'm like, are you shitting me? So now, every time I got drafted by the Capitals now. So now, every time I get a chance to do performance training, I'm doing sprints. Because it only takes an hour, and it gets up my durability. I don't know what I was at before, but now it's at 80 for how many sprints. I'm making my guy go up and down constantly. I'm like, I do not want to get knocked out for 100 or what? Now the total is about 190 days I was knocked out.
God.
My guy is getting destroyed, apparently. He's just a weakling. He just can't do shit. If he gets hit, he's done. But, you know, I lay the boom on people and I get into fights, but no, like a little tiny nudge. And Adam Buckingham in NHL 17 is down for the count. He's out. All right, other than that frustrating thing, I've been playing more Hotline Miami a little bit. That's always fun. Sometimes it's frustrating, though, because some of the levels are hard, to say the least. And I'm still not the greatest at twin stick, kind of like twitchy shooters when it comes to twin sticks. Looking down, it's really difficult. You're trying to move as quickly as possible to get the highest score, but sometimes you're towards the end, like the maps are insane. But the game I've been really excited to play, it was my pick earlier this week. You can check it out. We released an episode of games releasing this week. We release one every Tuesday to help you figure out what you want to buy this week or what do you want to look into. Not buy because we're not experts. We can't tell you what to do with your money, but you look into it. But I've been playing Darkest Dungeon. That game is awesome. I love that game. So basically it's got like a graphic novel type look to it, like a gothic graphic novel look. So going in, it's like a basic story. I haven't got far in the story yet. Some dimension or something was opened up in your house, your estate, and then you essentially get heroes to come with that you guide through like different dungeons and completing certain missions to then complete like an area. Then I guess you defeat a boss. I haven't got there yet, but there's a lot of different classes. Like one I recently got was called Abomination, so he changes into a werewolf, which is pretty sick. But the interesting thing about this game is that like your heroes are normal people, so they get stressed easily. So certain people have different attributes. So when you're going through the dungeon, your torchlight will go down. So if you hit a certain like level of darkness, like people in your party will start get stressed, and they hit a certain stress level, their resolve will be tested. So essentially, they could end up being like then become paranoid. So they'll pass more on turns, like when you're fighting, when you're in combat, which is essentially just it's simplistic turn-based combat where you're just all in a line and you're trying to. Certain people can hit farther backs. Only like the melee people are up front trying to hit the front people. But your characters specifically like being in a certain area of the line, and if they get pulled to the forward or get pushed back, they start getting more stressful. And also, like these like afflictions or so, when you get high enough stress, like for example, I had a mercenary in my squad. He got so stressed out that he became abusive. So every time like something bad happened or you would attack, he would just like yell at your party members, and they would get stressed. So it's interesting, like trying to play off what's the best relationship between all the characters. It's fascinating. Like for example, like bringing a werewolf, you can't bring like the healing cleric with it because it doesn't want to be in a party with the abomination. And every time you turn into a werewolf, you stress out your party members realistically because there's a gigantic werewolf chilling in the party. So it's fascinating. Like you go through different missions. Some are shorter, some are longer. So if you go on longer missions, then you have to camp out in the dungeon, and your party has certain camping skills that can help heal. It's definitely roguelike. So once your one character dies, they're dead. But it's good because you just bring in new heroes to go to the slaughter, essentially. So I'm still relatively new at it, so I have to figure out what the best way to tackle each mission is, what's the best grouping. Because the thing is, you don't want to send in like your favorite guys constantly, because then they'll get stressed, and they'll become weaker and weaker. Because the more stress they get, the weaker their stats become based on these quirks that they have. So to de-stress them, you have to send them to the church to pray, or to the tavern to go to a brothel or gamble, and their stress level will decrease. Sometimes their quirks will be removed. But it's very difficult, but I suggest all of you guys go check it out. One of the issues, though, recently with the release is that it's been having issues with crashing on the PS4. I'm not sure about the Vita, but I've been seeing a lot of PS4 issues with it crashing at random times. Like I was so close to finishing a quest in this one area, and it just crashed at the wrong time, and I was so upset. Not at like I saw it crashed on me earlier on, but the cool thing is that the developer is coming out and answering everyone's issues that they're having, like the crash that they're having. The people will tweet it out, and the developer will be right on responding. That happened to me yesterday when I said I was so upset that it crashed right at the end, and you're just letting you know, like, oh, we know I forget. It wasn't the Red Hook Studios, but it was one of their presidents tweeted at me stating, like, oh, we aware of the issues, and we're trying to address the crashes that people are having on PS4. And also today they released that it's going through cert, which makes me kind of love this game even more, because there are genuine people behind it that are keeping like the gamers in the loop. That you want to know, as a gamer, you want to know what's going on with the game. You don't want to be, not have the developer just be silent. So you're just like, well, I guess they're not helping us out. But they're actively out there trying to answer everyone's concerns. They're even answering like simple questions about how you use a function on the controller, because some people don't understand what's the best way to do it. It's just, I don't know, it makes me like the game even more that they were interacting with people, and they were trying to help out, and they're obviously trying to make the game, fix the game, and make the game the best possible way. But yeah, you should 100% check it out, especially now that I think the patch should be released soon. I don't know if it's released yet because I haven't been on my PS4 today, but it should be released soon. So yeah, that's sorry for the long diatribe, but I really like Darkest Dungeon. You should check it out, Gary. I feel like you would find it fascinating too.
It does sound interesting. I like the whole clan, or not clan, but the the character dynamics where you
Mm-hmm.
can't bring certain people into a certain team if they don't like certain things about that character. That's pretty cool to me.
Yeah, and it's great in its simplicity of how to fight, but it's addicting with how difficult it is. That's the basic that I can put it. It's very simple. You go after you complete quest, you go back to the hub world. You can upgrade your armor, upgrading your weapons for a certain character. But that's like the gamble you have to pay, or the gamble you have to make is like you can upgrade your armor for a certain character or upgrade their skills, but they could eventually just die outright. They could die, and you just lost all of that, which is kind of fascinating. Oh, another thing that I realized running yesterday, so it's kind of good that it. Funny enough, it's kind of good that it crashed because I lost 3 members of my party, and my werewolf was just tanking it. Because he got to a certain stress level and he became focused, and then he never became stressed after that, and he wasn't getting hurt. So he was just tearing through people. It was insane. But if you get your stress level up to like the max, like 200, your party members can have a heart attack, so their hit points automatically drop to 0. And if they're already on death's door where their hit points are at 0 and they have a heart attack, they dead. They done. That's how I lost all 3. It's insane. It's awesome. I love it. I like the difficulty of it. So once I inevitably beat it, eventually, I'll feel really accomplished. So that's again. I think you can tell that I like it, but
Nah,
I'm not biased.
You barely said anything about it.
No, not at all. We're already 11 minutes in, and we haven't got to the topics. This is going to be a long show, ladies and gentlemen. All right, moving on. First topic of the evening, over at Destructoid, Brett McDonsky writes, Firewatch is getting a movie adaptation. Indie developer and publisher Campo Santo has announced that it's teaming up with Good Universe, a motion picture production company. The goal behind the partnership is to create video game adaptations of movies and vice versa. The first project has already been announced. Firewatch is being turned into a movie. The adventure mystery story about the forests of Wyoming, guilt and non-physical relationships will supposedly debut on the silver screen eventually. Eventually being the keyword. I put that out there. Details are very sparse at the moment. No release date, director, or actors have been revealed. This news feels fitting and maybe somewhat ironic because an argument could be made that film would have been the best format for Firewatch in the first place. The more that a game strips meaningful interactivity, the stronger the case gets that a different medium would have been a better choice to tell a particular story. It's not that these tales can't be told as video games. Plenty of people were enamored by Firewatch after all, but sometimes a video game isn't the best fit. So, we're trying again to get a video game movie. Assassin's Creed is going to be the first one, so we'll see how that goes. But I feel like Firewatch is definitely a good choice. I haven't really played it, but it seems like it's in that vein of storytelling as a video game that could be, like they were stating, adapted into a movie instead of just like an action genre of a video game like Halo. Like I never understood how that could be a movie. That never really struck me as like a movie type. But Firewatch is more of the idea of what a video game movie could be, because it's sort of in that vein already of certain storytelling.
Yeah, I never got a chance to play Firewatch. Unfortunately, some of the negative reviews kind of steered me away. But I think the movie could be really interesting considering how mysterious that game is. They can really do a lot with how that movie plays out. It could be interesting to see.
I wonder what type of movie. Would they do a live action movie? Or would they keep it in like the same art style? Kind of? Like
almost like almost like an animated sort of deal.
Yeah, kind of like that. I don't know, but we'll see. Moving on to movies that are more likely, well, not more likely, but are even quote unquote closer. I don't know why I said quote unquote because I'm saying closer, but you know. Over at PC Gamer, Joe Donnelly titles an article, Portal movie announcement coming, quote, fairly soon, end quote, says JJ Abrams. Word of JJ Abrams-led Portal and Half-Life movies first surfaced 3 years ago when the esteemed film director and Valve's Gabe Newell floated the idea at DICE 2013 summit in Los Angeles. In March of this year, Abrams confirmed both films' existence. Quote, they're in development. He said, however, information has been thin on the ground since. When pressed by IGN at Wednesday's Westworld red carpet event, Abrams confirmed he's meeting with Valve next week. Quote, we have a meeting coming up next week with Valve. We're very active. I'm hoping that there will be a Portal announcement fairly soon, Abrams continued. We are having some really interesting discussions with writers, many of whom, once you said you're doing a movie or show about a specific thing that is a known quantity, you start to find people who are rabid about these things, end quote. Which is pretty reassuring given the fact that Newell has spoken before about the poor quality of pitches he's received from Hollywood production companies over the years, some of which were, quote, brutally the worst, end quote, as a result of not understanding what made the game good. Abrams continued, quote, as someone who loves playing Half-Life and Portal, what's the movie of this? It's incredible when you talk to someone who just gets it. It's like, oh my god, it's really the seed for this incredible tree you're growing. I look forward to being able to talk about it and announce who's working on it, end quote. So, JJ Abrams, I've come to conclude, he's awesome. He's like an awesome nerd in the movie industry.
I think an interesting point that was raised in that article by saying that, you know, there are certain things that make a game great, and it's sometimes I feel like really hard to bring that same feeling to a movie. Like Assassin's Creed's great because the way the game plays, or at least the way they used to play, and the way the story was. But like part of the fun of Assassin's Creed is playing the game, and it's like, how will that translate over into a movie adaptation? Like even Portal, for example, how will that, you know, transfer over into the movie portion? It's interesting to think about.
Yeah, very. It leads credence that Hollywood production companies don't understand what makes a video game good, what people like about it, what they can tap into when they're creating a movie. They don't need to make a completely carbon copy of what the game's story was, but they could base it around the universe that's going to happen that it's in. That's what I'm assuming would be Half-Life or Portal. I don't think they would make a carbon copy because video games storytelling are not, I don't want to say superb, but they're not on the same bar as movies, where movies are specifically for storytelling. Video games have a different combination of things, and it extends for a long period of time, where gameplay is also very important, and sometimes storytelling falls by the wayside and is not that as important as when it comes to the gameplay aspect to it. So it's encouraging that JJ Abrams is mentioning that he wants a pitch that fits what this game is, what personifies the game itself. You know, Ja feels. How do you feel about? How do you feel about the new Star Wars that's coming out? And just randomly throwing that in there.
Rogue One, I am extremely excited for.
Heard it here, folks. Gary is excited. The Star Wars nerd of the bunch.
Well, the thing about that movie is like it's finally. I have been saying this for so long now. I want a mature, more like dark Star Wars movie, and I think that this movie has potential to be that type of movie, more of a for mature audiences instead of like. The typical Star Wars movie that is for adults but also kids, and sometimes some things are lost when you're trying to balance those two audiences out. I
thought they were on the right when it came to dark. There was some darkness in the most recent one, episode 7, but there was the lighthearted moments and the jokes, and there were dark moments, but few and far between. But this one feels like a gritty Star Wars movie that makes it exciting.
That's exactly.
Especially there's going to be no Jedis, so they're not going to be crazy people flipping around with lightsabers like in prequels. You know, your favorites.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's a joke, people. Don't yell at Gary. Over at PC Gamer, James Davenport writes, Nidhogg, the psychedelic competitive sword combat game in which the winner is consumed by a flying snake deity, is getting a sequel in 2017. Yes, that was a sentence, Gary. Nidhogg 2 is en route with new levels, weapons, and obviously a wacky new art style. To understand the changes coming to Nidhogg, he talked to the director or the developer behind the game. It goes through a whole article, PC Gamer. You can look at it, understand what the new moves are, the new weapon classes. I'm pretty sure there's an axe, sword, and bow and arrow. And honestly, if you've seen gameplay of Nidhogg and you're thinking, and you haven't seen the new pictures of Nidhogg 2, you're like, oh, it's probably gonna look somewhat similar, maybe a little different. It looks completely different. That's just putting it out there. You should go check out I attached for you, Gary, to see the difference of how the art style drastically changed. I don't know about drastically, but it's definitely a change. But I've heard amazing things about the original Nidhogg. It was a local co-op party game that people love to play because you can do tournament modes, I think, where you just have two people going at it in a like simplistic gameplay style of like sword fighting, and then once you kill the person you're going against, you move to the next room, your guy spawns, you keep fighting it out and see whoever gets to the farthest. It's kind of like a push-pull, like a game of war or tug of war, kind of, just opposite direction. So if you guys are fans out there of Nidhogg, Nidhogg 2 is coming out in 2017. So that's exciting. And if you're not a fan of Nidhogg, you should check it out. It's a good game. It's fun. Moving on. Saw this on Twitter, so I think it was today, so I wanted to put it in here just because sometimes news this week is a little dry, so you got to put some things in there. Bulletstorm, or Allegra Frank writes over at Polygon writes, oh my goodness, we're going great. Bulletstorm coming to PS4, Xbox One, according to Ratings Board. A rating for a new edition of Bulletstorm has popped up on Brazil's classification board, pointing towards a current gen release for the 2011 shooter. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition is coming in 2017 to PlayStation 4, Windows PC, and Xbox One, according to the Brazilian rating. Gearbox Software is listed as the publisher instead of Electronic Arts, which put out the original game. So, another remastered. I was interested when Bulletstorm originally came out. It had an interesting gameplay. It was only single player, but it had like a scoring system when you're going through. Interesting like kick mechanic where you kick people in the air, shoot them. Different ways of killing people. You got higher scores. I'm interested to see what they do with it. If they're just gonna do a generic remaster of it, or maybe they'll add, I don't know, multiplayer, because it looked like the gameplay was good. I don't know, but more remasters, Gary. Are you excited? Now let's get into the interesting stuff. Not that those weren't interesting, but the few coming up are a little meaty. So over at PC Gamer, let's wait for this to load. I feel like I've been talking a lot. It's been a run-on since the last episode where I talked for 46 minutes straight. Gary, you bastard, you should have showed up. So I gave my throat a rest, god damn it.
If I didn't have to work like a responsible adult, I would have been here.
Whoo! Alright. Joe Donnelly writes over at PC Gamer. So, the No Man's Saga continues. Beyond the hype, the promises, and the prolonged silence from developer Hello Games and head honcho Sean Murray, it appears the UK's Advertising Standards Authority, the ASA, an independent regulator whose role is to, quote, regulate the content of advertisements, sales promotions, and direct marketing in the UK by investigating complaints made about ads, sales promotions, or directing, end quote, is now investigating the game's seemingly misleading promotional material. Frustrated with the disparity between the game's trailers, screenshots, and the, quote, general information used to advertise No Man's Sky on its Steam page and what actually features in the game, Reddit user Azer UK issued a formal complaint to the ASA. Ultimately, he or she feels the game's advertisement is, quote, misleading and misrepresenting of the quote, of the features found in the actual game. Continues, quote, I can't speak about other countries, but in the UK, there are regulations about providing advertising material that could mislead a consumer in some way. For example, displaying things that do not, in fact, exist. The ASA say they have received a number of complaints, and so the points below are not necessarily all related to the things personally I took issue with, but are issues they have picked out at the most clear-cut problems from amongst all the complaints. In the ASA response, they say that both Hello Games and Valve have a joint responsibility, and so both organizations have been contacted by the ASA and have been told to respond to the following issues, which the ASA picked out as primary issues, compiled from a number of complainants that contacted the ASA. The points Azer, or that was end quote. The points Azer UK details can be found in full if you go to the article and then you click, you can list it. But however, the list takes issues with UI design, large-scale combat, flowing water, size of creatures, behavior of ships and sentinels, and the aiming system, among other perceived discrepancy. Although the ASA is a non-stationary body, it does have the power to have advertisements which breach the code of advertising practice removed, a process which, of course, prevents them from being used again. The article continues. That was a lot of reading, but I thought that was important information about what is going on, the whole situation of them actually being investigated by the ASA. Thoughts, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, I get that this game, they had a lot of things leading up to it that they said were going to be in the game, and of course they weren't. I know I saw someone online talking about how, there's a video of them flying their ship underwater. Of course, in the game, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Flying is actually almost like on autopilot half the time. You can't crash. So it's like kind of a joke. But I start to wonder now, is this going to be a common thing now with other games that are releasing? Because I've never seen a game like this in my life draw so much negative attention. It's crazy.
It's like the Chip Kelly of video games.
Seriously, I've never
sports
seen
reference.
I've never seen so many people pissed off like this in my life. I mean, there's been plenty of bad games out there, but this is the first time I've ever seen a game just facing lawsuits from every direction from all these people, and it's
the backlash is insane.
It's kind of unfortunate, really, because the game had a lot of potential, but
I feel like the silence from the developers is also making people even more upset because they don't know what's going on. They did, if you look at past transcripts, they promised a lot of things that were not delivered. I guess in their mind they may have thought they delivered, or maybe they overpromised and they couldn't make it, but they should have, I'm in the mind they should have came out and stated, hey, this is not, I know we stated this, but we're a small team of developers, or a team of coders, or whatever you want to say. I'm not good with words. What was it? Oh, it's coming out saying that, hey, we're a small team. Unfortunately, we weren't able to put this stuff in originally at launch, like we said we would, but we are continuing working, and hopefully down the road in a few months we will be adding additional things we'll be adding on to what is already there at No Man's Sky instead of silence.
I mean, honestly, I kind of wonder now where the game's going to be in a year. Because originally, when the game first came out, I mean, the support was there. He was on Twitter. Sean Murray was on Twitter, constantly talking about the game. And it made me believe that in a year, the game will probably be completely different and better. Mm-hmm. But now I wonder if anyone's going to care a year from now. Will anybody, even if they do start improving the game and start releasing new content, is anybody actually going to give a damn? Because I don't know if I am either. But we'll see.
Maybe in 2 years when it's finally a different game completely, you'll just see random threads popping up oh, you should play No Man's Sky now. It's completely different. It's a lot better. But seeing this, it kind of made me, I was just curious what other people thought. Because I've heard people complaining about false advertisement, and I saw opinion articles later on when doing my searching. So I compiled, I didn't compile myself, I just wrote down, I think it was 4 games that people were upset with false advertisement that I saw commonly throughout. One being Halo 5 Guardians. I know there was issues with the whole campaign of you going and hunting down Master Chief and actually fighting when you actually don't fight. Metal Gear Solid 5, I'm not sure exactly why. There a bunch of reasons. I didn't list it down, but I just figured to throw it out there. The Order 1886, a lot of hype with that one.
That game failed, man. Epic fail.
Looked beautiful, but it didn't do too great. And finally, Destiny, Gary. How do you feel about that? It kind of makes sense, though. People were, again, hyping themselves up with the game.
Oh, no, they lied, though. Bungie definitely lied. I mean, they originally even said, I mean, they had all these crazy press conferences and previews, and they're like, you see that mountain over there in the distance? You can go to that mountain. And then like the game releases,
Bullshit.
and then all of a sudden you try to walk to that mountain, your guy dies. It's like, is that mountain shooting at me? Like, that's a crazy thing. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. Definitely could be lumped in there. Surprised they aren't suing that company.
Yeah, I just and I also was curious, like, did this ever happen before with a game? So
I'm sure it has.
During the search, I found that Aliens Colonial Marines. I found an article over at Gamerant, and I just pulled an excerpt out of it. Quote, now Californian law firm Edelson LLC has filed a false advertisement lawsuit against Gearbox and Sega on behalf of plaintiff Damien Pirin, claiming that the demos of Aliens Colonial Marines that were shown at conventions like E3 and PAX were not representative of the game and were misleading to consumers. So yeah, there's been an example. Not many. I don't think I've seen many more examples. When I was searching online, this is like the main one that I saw. I don't think it went too much farther. I don't think anything really came of it. But it's interesting that it happened before. Moving on, Gary. Exciting news to you. Over at Kotaku, Jason Schreier writes, sources: Destiny 2 coming to PC aims to feel like a totally new game. Destiny 2. The currently unannounced 2017 sequel to Destiny is coming to PC in addition to Xbox One and PS4, according to several sources. The first game was exclusive to the consoles, much to the dismay of Destiny fans with beefy computers. We also hear that Bungie aims to make Destiny 2 feel like an entirely new game rather than a Taken King-style expansion, even that means leaving old characters behind. The PC rumor first popped up on NeoGAF today, this afternoon, as a GAF poster named Benny A. wrote that a friend at Activision had told him that Destiny's much-anticipated sequel will indeed be on PC. The publisher informed employees about the news during an internal presentation today, according to Benny A. He added another interesting tidbit, that Activision-owned studio Vicarious Visions is also helping out Destiny 2. Although that isn't public knowledge, I heard the same thing a few weeks ago, which adds credence to Benny A's report. Earlier this year, I also heard from a person familiar with Bungie's plans that Destiny 2, which is currently slated for a late 2017 release, will be on PC. So does that news excite you, Gary, that it's going to be basically, not the PC thing, because, I mean, I'm not going to play it on PC, but that it'll be a brand new, different game. I don't know about different, but, you know.
Definitely. I believe I read somewhere, too, that their goal is to, with the expansions anyway, for this current game, their goal is to make fixes to the small things that were wrong in the game. But this new game coming out is going to basically be a huge fix for a lot of the big problems that the current game has. So I'm really excited to see, I guess, how they go about this. I know that there was talks about how they're going to basically just kind of leave the old story behind, which is fine because they did a really terrible job at telling the story.
What
in
is
the first place.
The old story? There's a big sphere over top of a city.
I'll be honest with you. I played.
Gravity I don't think would work that way, but you know.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is like I've played now for 2 years now, going on 3, and it's like you really don't. You know some of the story. I mean, you know, like sort of the basic story, but there's so much lore behind the story that you never know about because you have to go online for some reason and read, flashcards online. Like, who wants to do that?
Dumb.
Yeah. So
I don't know if the story issue, because I remember hearing old stories about they had to scrap the whole thing prior and then redo a whole different story. I'm not entirely sure why again, but that may be issues with the story and why you have to read it online. Gary, I want you to give me a synopsis of the story in a minute or less. Go.
Huh. Wow. Okay, your guardian's been dead now for a long time. Ghost comes along, voiced by Peter Dinklage, but now voiced by Nolan North. Decides to revive you for some odd reason. You resurrect, and you go to this nice tower place, and then you do missions that don't... And then you go to this nice tower place, also known as the Last City, and you do missions that don't necessarily have any connection to anything, and you shoot everything in sight.
I never even knew it was called the Last City. I never knew that until right now. You blew my mind. It makes so much sense It's so literal. The last city. Continue.
Yeah. Well, that's actually basically the story. You shoot everything in sight. You kill a few bosses, and you level up for gear. That's the deal.
Oh well, people are still playing it. I guess story is not a huge deal when it comes to solid gameplay. I guess.
Damn straight.
Oh my goodness, my back's hurting, Gary. Just sitting here reading these articles. My throat's starting to hurt. I'm struggling. I'm struggling.
Just saying, I could have read these.
No, the reading belongs to me. You'll never
Of
have
course.
it. Damn it. This is exciting news. Battlefield blog gave a description of what the story would be like for Battlefield 1. Jonas Effling? Elf?
Can you find
Elfling.
normal names, please?
Eric Holmes. I can say that
There
name.
we go. That's a miracle.
Writes in a blog post, in Battlefield 1, you'll experience a series of what we call war stories. Personal stories focus on different protagonists with unique backgrounds and skills. While other characters are at war, the stories in Battlefield 1 are personal. They're about people rather than history or battles. The Great Wars, they're diverse. We knew we wanted to embrace that variety. There were so many different perspectives and characters in World War I, and we wanted to cover as much ground as possible. This made us reconsider the format of what we'd offer in Battlefield 1 single player. We felt that to have one character hopping through those different settings wouldn't be as immersive as or totally respectful to the setting. So we decided on an anthology format, a set of characters with their own more focused stories. That way we can have immersive and variety, a double win. I'm pumped about this. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, definitely. And mostly because I'm really tired. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm really extremely tired of the typical first-person shooter story nowadays where it's just like, okay, we're strong men. We're going to shoot everything in sight. We're going to jump off a cliff as the mountain's exploding. And
Tango down! Tango down!
Yeah. I'm really tired of that. I'm really excited that they're actually doing World War I, which hasn't really been covered by any game, justice, and showing the real stories behind it. I think it adds like a human element to the whole thing. You really get you can really relate to the human side of the war instead of just shooting everything in your way, which will happen, but the story helps.
This is exciting. You have different perspectives, so it allows you different creators to write a more consolidated, shorter story, which is, I don't know the better terms to put it in, but it's kind of like this when you do a story when you have like TV shows on Netflix where there are only 10 set episodes and they know they have like a short chunk so they can speed through it and get the necessary stuff versus, TV series where it's like 24 episodes on cable where they just prolong it. And that's why that's what I feel like it's going to happen here. You have 5, I think I heard it was going to be 5 or 6 different stories per se going through the missions. So now you can have a really focused, narrowed down story for a certain character, and you can flush out what that character is and the characters around him in that set time. And I'm pretty certain Call of Duty did that in World War II games. So, and I always enjoyed that. So, this should be, hopefully they do this well. And again, World War I feel like needs to be explored. It was one of the first like grand war that had gravitas, different nations, like so many nations involved. I feel like it needs to be touched, and people need to understand what people had to go through in World War I. It wasn't, I don't want to say as glamorous, but it wasn't. It was dirt. It was trying to change the war tactics, where they were doing old war tactics with upgraded machinery that didn't fit, and it was all trench warfare and people getting mowed down and biological warfare and everyone fighting in the trenches and getting, again, it's something that I feel like needs to be touched on. I don't know how they're going to do gameplay. It's just a fascinating combination of like you see in the beta, you have horses along with awkward looking tanks. That was like it was a weird combination of times per se.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I don't know if I said it that well, but thanks. Moving on. Ubisoft buys Ketchup. Eddie Machu, I don't fucking know how to say names. Assassin's Creed publisher Ubisoft. Freaking GarageBand telling me to take the monitor off. Screw you! I want it on so I can hear Gary. Damn it. Alright, moving on. Assassin's Creed publisher Ubisoft has acquired mobile game publisher Ketchup. That's clever. The company announced this week, with acquisition, Ubisoft said it becomes the, quote, the fourth largest mobile game publisher when measured by number of downloads, end quote. Ketchup may not be a household name, but you may be familiar with some of its games. Perhaps most notably, it's published the threes like 2048, as well as Zigzag Stack, Stick Hero, Twist, and Jelly Jump. All I know is 2048 because that game was addictive, and it got my girlfriend addicted to it. So she was playing one time during a basketball game because it was a boring game that I didn't care about. It was Wizards and some other random team. I hope it wasn't the Sixers because that would have been awkward. Well, that was back when they sucked anyway, so I didn't care about the game either, so it's understandable. But continuing, since Ketchups. Founded in 2048, its games have racked up almost 700 million downloads, which comes out to more than 23 million downloads every month. In a statement, Ubisoft Mobile Executive Director Jean-Michel Descartes, I butchered that, explained that acquisition of Ketchup also helps in another key area, advertising. Quote, with Ketchup, Ubisoft acquires a highly profitable publisher with a successful portfolio of free-to-play games, my favorite, for mobile. He continues, this acquisition gives Ubisoft one of the world's leading mobile game publishers and reinforces our advertising capabilities in the mobile gaming. Yay, Ubisoft, continue with mobile stuff. Eke out that money, Ubi. Even though there's a crazy takeover that's happening. It's a power war that's happening with Ubisoft and Vivendi. I think that's going. Go look it up. It's fascinating. Fascinating stuff. How do you feel about mobile games, Gary? I see you sitting over there stroking your beard. What do you think?
I am really not a huge fan. I mean, I've had my fair share. I had Star Wars games where it was kind of like defend your HQ, and that was pretty cool. But I mean, mobile games for me only go on for so long, and then
they fizzle
pass.
out. Yeah, that always happens. That's why you got to figure out the hook.
Exactly. In Ubisoft's case, by getting this company, they can capitalize on the people that just buy games constantly and just try out different stuff, and you can make a ton of money that way. So not a bad move on their part.
And like they're saying, they can advertise their own stuff in it too. You know, when you get a free-to-play game and you get the stupid little apps that come up, like, oh, clear the apps, or you can clear the apps for $1. Just keep watching us advertise different things. Oh, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, I feel like you're saying, like the tower defense games, like the Star Wars tower defense you were talking about. Yeah. And I feel like those games, tower defense games, and match 3 games are like the top 2 games that you should put on mobile. They fit the best. I don't want any of this bullshit with your platforming crap where you have to tap on the left and move on the right. Or like the theoretical analog stick that they sometimes have where you move around. Well, like, that never works.
Perfect example of that actually is KOTOR. They brought that to the iPad and the iPod Touch. Now, I mean, I'll be honest with you, the game actually doesn't play that poorly, but I mean, you play it on a console and you play it on an iPhone. I mean, if it's on an iPad, maybe it's a little bit better because the in-game buttons are bigger. But Jesus, man!
Oh, you have to hit buttons. It makes more sense to actually just do, like, hit the, you know how it comes up with the on the bottom left when you play the game, where like it's certain attacks and what you want to do. It makes more sense to just press that.
So yeah, you can do that in the game. Like it has like obviously you're touching like the screen itself to do it, but yeah, they have that. But it's still like. It's aggravating because sometimes like the buttons are so small on the screen.
That would be rough on the iPhone.
Yeah, and it's really just excruciating. So yeah.
I don't know why that would come. iPad would make the most sense. Larger screens when it comes to games make the most sense. And I don't know. I would be able to sit on my phone playing that game. It makes more sense to just sit down or sit at your computer and play. But continuing on, next article titled Cyberpunk 2077 2077 could feature a huge living city and a seamless multiplayer. Joe Donnelly writes over at PC Gamer. A lot of PC Gamer stuff we have right now, articles. Probably because they were the first one to post on Twitter when I was going through it at work, you know. I was doing work too. Don't worry, folks. Don't worry. CG Projekt Red's next game supposedly has more people working on it than The Witcher 3 ever did. However, little else is known about Cyberpunk 2077 beyond its table roots. Geralt's last outing set the bar high with regards to open world exploration, and it seems the Polish studio is keen to keep this momentum going, having applied for grants via the Polish Gaming program for various technologies, including city creation, animation excellence, cinematic feel, and seamless multiplayer. As reported and translated by Game Pressure, city creation is a, quote, complex technology for creating a huge living city playable in real time, which is based on rules, AI, and automation, as well as supports innovative processes and tools for making top-notch open-world games, end quote. Seamless multiplayer, on the other hand, is a, quote, complex technology for making unique multiplayer gameplay mechanics, including the ability to search out for opponents, manage game session, replicate objects, as well as support for different game modes, along with a unique set of dedicated tools, end quote. Animation excellence and cinematic feel are likely more self-explanatory. We contact CD Projekt Red to confirm the veracity of the applications, to which the studio's Robert Malensky replied, quote, we did apply. I confirm that, yes. However, we wouldn't like to elaborate beyond what's already there, end quote. Assuming CD Projekt Red's grant applications are successful, we can assume they'll be applying to the forthcoming Cyberpunk 2077? Question mark, as I normally always say, even though I try to say it as a question. As Andy reported earlier this month, the game's Facebook page has been inactive since April 2014, and its Twitter account hasn't posted since late 2013. So,
No Man's Sky?
Good one, G. But that's exciting. They're applying for different technologies to make this game even more crazy and feel like its own world compared to Witcher.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, for someone that, thought that The Witcher was good, but not necessarily their cup of tea, this sounds really interesting to me because, one, it's a sci-fi game, and two, I can start this story over for once. I felt like one of the biggest problems I had with The Witcher was the fact that I was coming in basically at the end of the story, and I had no real connection to anything. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually really excited for this Cyberpunk game if it ends up getting released, and sounds interesting.
It will be released. It just may be a while down the road. There's for them working now with a larger team than Witcher 3, with the team they made Witcher 3 with. I can't imagine that it'd be anytime soon making a larger open world game than The Witcher.
Patience is a virtue, and like I've stated before in this podcast, from previous episodes that you can, listen to. Also, remember to subscribe to Two Jersey Kids if you want to hear this glorious content that we have. Me and Gary are awesome. You know it. But I love the setting of Cyberpunk 2077. I like the sci-fi aspect. I kind of want it to be like a dark sci-fi setting. It'd be kind of cool. They should have like plasma swords, not lightsabers, because I think that's copyright infringement or some shit. But plasma swords would be the bomb. Yeah. Man, that's a nice little pregnant pause we had there. All right, just so all you guys know out there, PlayStation Experience 2016 hits Anaheim, California this December. They're going to be hosting it December 3rd and the 4th. I mean, that's really all you need to know. There's going to be a conference, so hopefully they pull their shit together after that shit show they showed with the PS4 Pro and that whole boring press conference, which was not needed. Shit show they showed.
Well, good one, Gary.
Rolls off the tongue.
Man, this is why you come listen to this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, for shit like that.
Hey, I talk off the cuff, okay?
All right, if you guys are interested in free games coming to PlayStation, I know we talked about Xbox games with gold last week. with when it was just me, go listen to that episode. Tell me how well I did by myself talking for 46 minutes because it was really rough for my throat, and I can feel it today. But the PS Plus, PS Plus free games for October 2016. So coming to PS4 is Resident Evil. I'm guessing the HD version, remake, updated res of it, and Transformer Devastation. Coming to PS3, if you're still playing that thing, Mad Riders and From Dust. And PS Vita, Code Realized Guardian of Rebirth and Actual Sunlight. The only thing I really think that would be interesting is playing the old Resident Evil game. I'm guessing it's to prep for Resident Evil 7 that's coming out relatively soon.
The other game was, we said Transformers? Or Transformer?
Transformers Devastation.
Now, is that based on...
Yeah, it's Transformers, but it's like the old cartoony style.
Okay.
Versus like the... Actually, I remember I played one Transformers game on the 360. I forget what it was. But I forget what the title was, but it was awesome. It was really good. Really? Yeah. Nice. And then they went downhill afterwards. But
kind of like the movies, yeah.
The online actually was pretty cool too, because you could drive around, you could switch to your car, drive around, then hop out and start shooting. It was sick.
I'm happy to hear that, because the last Transformers movie I saw, it was 3 hours long. It was the one with Mark Wahlberg, and
you went to see that?
Well, let me rephrase here. Let me clarify. Okay, so I get drugged there by a bunch of people. Okay, I get there.
You were drugged? Did they hop you drugged up on meth and methamphetamine?
I was drugged and then strapped into my seat and had to watch this movie, which it felt like. But
they also kept your eyelids open the whole time.
Oh yeah. 3 hours later, I'm sitting here. Okay, 3 hours later, I'm not kidding you. The movie ended, and I turned to the people, and they all thought it was okay. I'm like, that is the worst movie I have seen in a long time. I would be a better person not seeing that movie. But anyway, that's the end of that rant.
You're still having flashbacks to it.
Terrible.
Toss and turn in the middle of the night, having nightmares about it.
3 hours and nothing happened.
Wait, wasn't there a robot dinosaur in it?
I don't even know. I try to block it out of my memory.
I thought there was. And Marky Mark was in that. I guess it wasn't that great.
Marky Mark.
There was no way I was seeing it. I like the first Transformers movie, and then, Michael Bay sort of did Michael Bay things, and it sucked. That's all I have to say. I realize, even though it's getting later and later in the episode, my voice is fluctuating constantly. Because earlier on, the bars level would get high. Well, now I'm self-conscious about it, so I'm talking louder, so it's going higher. But when I'm reading, I see that it's really low. I'm sorry if it's low, but all right, we're gonna talk about a topic we got into last week, but unfortunately, some shit happened with our audio, some stupid crap. So we weren't able to get into it. You weren't able to hear it. I was thinking about posting it where you could just hear my audio, but you could hear you sort of in the background. But then I realized I got self-conscious because I could hear myself breathing. Because every time you're talking, I'm just actively listening and I'm breathing. But it became irritating to myself listening it back that I would not want to be a listener on that. So I didn't release it to you. So your ears didn't get annoyed by my breathing.
Darth Vader.
Yes, good. Feel the dark side of the Force. Okay. California University will pay half your college tuition, just for playing video games. I fucked up the name last time. I'm going to fuck it up this time. Paul Sozoldra. I don't know if the S is silent, but at Business Insider writes, if you're looking for a near free ride to a major university in beautiful Southern California, there's one in Irvine that may be right up your alley. I don't know why I'm talking like this. University of California Irvine is recruiting students on partial scholarships dedicated solely to video gaming. And with the upcoming grand opening of its eSports arena on campus, the school has become a, quote, mecca for gamers, according to Mark Depp. As the acting director of UCI Esports, Dept is the brains behind the university's new esports facility. Dept has transformed the former campus pool hall into a state-of-the-art gaming arena that's set to open on September 23rd, which was last week sometime. The gaming arena will host regular student gamers as well as the school's 10-player team, which will compete in tournaments that include millions of dollars in prize money. Now, Gary, get on your old man grumpy train and say why this irritates you.
Okay, I mean, I didn't say this before, but I was thinking about today when I thought about this topic. We might as well just offer scholarships for just about anything. Let's just offer scholarships for knitting. Who can knit the best and the fastest? Here's $1,000.
It's about what can bring in money to the school, and the fact that they're competing in tournaments that could bring in millions of dollars for the school. I'm pretty certain that they'll shell out the money to give scholarships when there's millions of dollars on the line. I mean, that's why they do it with the NFL or the college football, because they rake in so much money. All they do is keep it. They pay their coach, and then they just give the scholarships to the players.
Yep, isn't that awesome? No, I just a video game to me is a hobby, just like
here we go.
card playing or anything else. I just don't know if you should be getting your tuition paid. Now, at the same time, I think that athletic scholarships are also out of control, even though well, in some ways I think they are. I mean, these guys, these football players that go to college, they get free rides. They don't go to class, and they just play football. It's like a pre-NFL stage for them.
What would you want them to do? I don't want to get into a sports discussion here, but where would you want them to go after high school if they can't go to college and get a scholarship? They can't pay for it. What the hell they're going to do?
Oh, my God.
Then football goes downhill.
Who knows?
You're just a grumpy person saying, like, if you go to college, you got to go to class, even if you're on a sports team. If you don't go and you just shit the bed, fuck you.
I think it's unfair.
Fuck your future. Fuck everything about you. That's what you're saying, Gary?
No, not really. I'm saying that I think it's unfair to the people that are actually working hard, maybe an engineering major such as you. So you're an engineering major. You have your entire life taken up by school for 4 years straight.
They're not working hard themselves in their own
in football?
Yeah.
It's like me saying that hockey is a drag for me. Like, oh, man, I got to go to hockey today.
Well, I mean, when you're doing 2 days a week and then have to put it up with, like, tutoring and going to class. Now, again, I know some people don't go to class, but they have to sit and do tutoring, and they have to do a lot of training, go to practice, lift at 6 a.m., go to practice 3 times a day. It's a lot of work.
I completely understand the work that's put into it. However, it just kind of bothers me that guys get scholarships to play sports, and that's all. All they're doing. No, that's
crikey.
No, you get a scholarship. It's supposed to be an academic institution. These guys aren't even doing anything in school related.
They're bringing money into the academic school,
which is the only reason they're there.
Exactly,
because they aren't going to class.
School.
Yeah. These guys couldn't even pass a high school algebra exam.
Hey, don't lump everybody into that.
I'm not.
Some are very well. They're good students.
I know.
Fucking overgeneralizing piece of shit.
There are some people that, of course, just take advantage completely of the whole thing.
Of course, there's always going to be people like that. There's people in engineering where they didn't put in the effort. They just kind of like just moved along, got C's, didn't put in a lot of effort.
And that bothers the hell out of me. Because there's somebody else that could be taking their spot.
Exactly. So it's everywhere. It's not just certain athletes. Back to esports, but as long as they're bringing in money for the school, I mean, they're going to probably have to put in a lot of time, like staring at the fucking computer and learning the best tactics for certain games, and they're going to have to put off doing like classes for computer science, engineering, business, and everything. That's a lot of work, so I feel like they would have to pay for tuition.
I respect the work, but this is why I don't want to get into a huge economics thing, but this is why college is a damn scam. That's why it's a scam. These people, you've charged this much money to the point where you – all right, I'm not even going to go there.
I feel like the whole purpose of college is you get a piece of paper saying, hey, congrats.
Yeah, it's legalized. It's legalized stealing, and it's just –
I don't want to go that far. I learned a lot in college, a lot of experience. It's worth it.
Yeah, to some degree.
Some degree. It's it is an expensive thing, but I mean, you can teach yourself a lot of things. Sometimes, I don't know. I always have found myself learning better when I had a set goal in front of me versus me trying to teach myself. That's what I think college does.
Well, let me clarify here that I have nothing against video game players, being that I am one. And if you want to play video games and get a scholarship for it, good for you. But I don't necessarily agree with it. The fact that people are getting scholarships for it, that's the thinking there.
Gary's trying to crush your dreams, folks. Don't let him do that. Follow your dreams. You get tuition for fucking playing video games? Fucking right. Because then you won't be in debt. You'll be less in debt, which would be great for you coming out of college. Because it's an expensive thing. It's fucking expensive. You're just trying Gary.
Just trying to be realistic, that's all.
You're a cranky old man. And you're only 24, 23. What are you at
80.
right now? You're at 80? Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Shit. We may not have much longer of this podcast, folks. Gary just whisked away into dust, apparently, because he's that old. All right. My grandma's that old, I think. I think she's actually in her 80s. Shit. Damn.
Nice.
Damn. I need some apples and peanut butters. Apple and peanut butter. There we go. That's a good gaming food right there. It's healthy for you. It's really delicious. Do it. And also, if you can get your grandma to make it for you, it's even better because it's made with love, which you always need love in your life.
I'll touch her.
On that note, Gary, what are you doing the rest of the week and weekend?
Okay, so I would be on the lookout. The Destiny Rise of Iron review is on the way. So
eventually,
I'm going to be raiding this weekend. I'm going to be raiding this weekend. I'm going to be playing Trials of Osiris. I'm going to basically catch up in all the game modes and actually finally be able to speak on the game as a whole. So keep an eye out for the review. Other than that, NHL 17 obviously on the list I'll be playing.
More league.
But yeah. Oh yeah. But,
more NHL, EASL, CL club matches.
Yeah, XYZ, LMNOP. Yeah.
Well, that's
but
good.
Yeah, that's my week lined up. How about yourself?
I'm not playing Destiny. I am probably not going to be playing too much until Sunday. Because I'm planning on going to upstate New York on Saturday. Actually, first I'm going to go tailgating University of Maryland football game. Then me and my girlfriend go upstate to New York to go to...
I hope she's driving.
Yeah, she's driving.
Don't drink and drive.
I made sure she got her oil changed because it was at 20% last time. I was like, there's no fucking way we're making it up to upstate New York, or your car's going to break down and we're just going to be stuck in like West Virginia somehow. But yeah, going up to upstate New York for a camp she used to go to. They're having like a banquet or something, and she wanted to go. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything this weekend. Let's go. So I'm doing that. Sunday we'll be getting back. Maybe watch football. I don't know. Eagles aren't playing. Probably play some more. Can you guess it, Gary? Do you know what I'm going to be playing if I have a chance?
Darkest Dungeons?
You are correct. Everyone, go check that out. The game's awesome. All right, this has been episode. This is how it is episode 6. That was words. Did you know that? Episode 6, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for listening. I'm sorry for my incoherentness. Hopefully, I didn't piss you off too much with my reading or said things wrong. It's not my intention. I'm sorry. I can't read, apparently. But Gary's never going to be the host. All right. Episode 6 in the bag. Thank you all for listening. Remember, please follow us on Twitter at 2JerseyKids. If you're a new listener, thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe if you really like us. No pressure if you don't. It's understandable. Sometimes we're not likable to certain, personalities. I don't know who, but those personalities, fuck you.
Okay. It's time we wrap it up here, folks.
It's getting late. Again, follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page. Please subscribe. And also, if you can be so kind, give us feedback. Tweet us if you like it. Rate us on iTunes. And also, share us with your friends or share us on Twitter. Say how much you love the podcast or how much you love listening to us idiots talk about video games pretending to be knowledgeable on the subject. All right, Gary, say bye to the children.
Adios, amigos.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Gary and Adam have left the building.